I'm going to be talking to you today about prevention. I'm Belinda Terramuni, an author, Catholic coach for other coaches, therapists, women, and authors, and a speaker. I'm going to have a series of 3 videos. This one will be prevention, and the other 2 will be understanding mental illness and then understanding addictions. So you'll see me in these videos talking about what it's like to have a mental illness or an addiction or love someone who does, and what it's like to try to prevent, especially with our children as well as ourselves, any illness or relapse toward illness in ourselves or our children. So let's begin with prevention today. Preventing mental illness, promoting good mental health is absolutely the best way to go. Because once a person has a problem, they may or may not admit it, and they may or may not want to have treatment for it. Whether it's a child or it's an adult, the longer you wait for whatever that is, you can think of a physical illness in the same way. The longer you wait to treat whatever it is, the harder it is for the person to get the help they need. And they may have been able to stop it much earlier in the process or make the recovery time much shorter. So we're trying to help people to get their mental health in order and keep it in good order. So the first thing that I would say for us who are parents is that the most important thing we can do for our children is to take care of our own mental health or addictions as soon as we become aware or have any kind of an understanding that these things are actually a problem for us. So instead of having people tell you that they're a problem and you deny it and you minimize it and it's not so much, and you pick points, what we're going to try to do is see it for what it is and then get help for it. So that's the first thing. If we are a protective factor because we are doing our own work or have done our own work or we're in recovery, we've already helped our children before anything else. If we don't get help, and I'll give you an example, let's say you have trauma, then you're raising children in an environment where you're being triggered, you're anxious, or you're depressed, or you're a little bit paranoid sometimes. And I'm not talking about a clinical paranoia. I'm talking about just, it could be because you're being triggered. So if you have any type of a PTSD or any type of a mental illness or addiction, you need help. So that's the first thing you can do for your children, is to go get help for yourself. If someone's telling you, whether it's a family member or a friend or an employer, listen. Because if we don't hear, we can't take care of ourselves. Even sometimes after we hear, we don't want it to be the case. And we go through this denial process where we got to get over that in order to get help. But whatever it takes, get the support that you need, get the help that you need, and become a protective factor for your children. This is the very, very, very best thing you can do for them. The next best thing is, if you see a problem in your child, to get an early intervention for that child. So I'll give you an example from a physical point of view. I've seen so many people who have children with stuttering problems. So a speech disfluency can happen to any of us. It has to do with regulating your breath as you speak and not speaking too fast or being too anxious in your speech. So I'll give you an example. My 3rd son had trouble speaking because my oldest son, who had a mental illness, was constantly at me for my attention. And when the 3rd son started trying to speak, the older son would interrupt and, hurry up, I got to talk to mom. And he wasn't trying to be hateful. He just had a lot of needs. He was very needy in dealing with his illness. But the 3rd child then ended up thinking, oh no, I got to get it out fast. And you can't get the breath. And then you start having the disfluency. everybody has probably at least a little bit of disfluency, but it's not like people who have what is traditionally called stuttering. But if you see that in a child and you think he's going to grow out of it, that's not appropriate. And the reason I'm saying that is because in the way that they could just go and get the help and in 3 months be a lot better, or maybe altogether, in a summer, my son was fluent again because he had the right speech therapist. And I'm not saying that that will be the same with everyone, but it might. So get help. So if you're seeing that your child has some kind of a mental illness, it's the same thing. I'm using the physical thing that is very, very easy to see. But if a child continues to have problems with depression after 2 or 3 weeks of can't hardly get out of bed, you're eating or sleeping too much, and you're having all these recurrent thoughts, especially if there's anything at all that says they just don't want to live, they need to go see somebody. And trying to pretend that it's going to get better is not helpful. That's not actually our job as parents to say that my son or my daughter's mental illness will just get better on its own. That's a professional's job. It might be true, but we are going to partner with professionals to help us. So part of prevention of mental illness in our children is early intervention, early identification first, and then intervention. So we're going to see it and name it, claim it, even though we don't want to. It's another problem. We've got to do something else. Oh my gosh, our life is so hard already. That's all true. But if you're a parent and you see something and you don't deal with it, chances are, like 99.9%, that it will continue to get worse. And then you're going to have a way bigger problem with a lot longer expanse of time in order to get it dealt with and actually see some healing coming about. Use the therapeutic lifestyle changes with yourself and with your children. The therapeutic lifestyle changes can go a long way in preventing anything from happening. And even if the child or yourself does have a depression, let's say, or an anxiety, you might not have to take any medicine if you're using all the TLCs. So I've written a special workbook that you can find online, my Therapeutic Lifestyle Changes Workbook, Creating a Comprehensive Plan for a Calm, Ordered Life. It's on Amazon. You can get it and you can use it and you can help your child to set goals in those areas. And then I spoke about this, but I'm going to come right back around to it. If we have issues and we are getting help from those issues from the past, whether it's a mental illness, whether it's an addiction, whether it's just some kind of a co-occurring disorder where we have some mental stuff going on and some addiction stuff going on, if we don't get help, number one, if we're denying it for ourselves, we're going to deny it for our children. And then number two, if we don't get help, then our children won't have a credible witness to want to get help themselves. You might be able to drag your child to a therapist, but if you're not doing the work yourself, if you're not walking the walk, talking the talk is not going to mean a thing to your child. So we want to be credible witnesses. We want to be recovering ourselves from whatever we have to recover from, even if it's just childhood trauma, that which is not just, I'm not trying to minimize that, but I'm saying maybe that's what we have. It's not a mental illness or it's not an addiction. It's trauma-based stuff that we have to recover from. So I hope that these techniques that I've given you for early identification and intervention, for using the therapeutic lifestyles, for doing our own work and walking our own walk instead of just talking the talk, will really help you with prevention for your children and yourself, and you will have a better life. If you need to get a hold of me, you can come to my website, belindateramooney.com. You can sign up for my YouTube channel because I will have more videos coming out, and my newsletter on my website. So I hope, until we meet again, that your mental health and the rest of your life, your physical health, is good and that you can prosper. And I'm here to help you in any way I can.